All right, so I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when you have a conflict with source control. So if you made some changes in your code in multiple locations, so let's say that I deleted that there. Deleted paragraph from about. Okay, so if I make a change locally and on GitHub, and I don't deal with those changes, so we can double check that. We can right click, we can click fetch, and we can see that GitHub is actually one commit ahead. But let's say I ignored that and I directly went into my files and I started making changes, specifically where I already made changes. So I'm going to open up my About page and I'm going to start making some code changes so you guys can see what that looks like. Okay, so let's open up that file. And I want to open up this About. Go ahead, open it. Okay, so we deleted that paragraph on GitHub. Let's say that I wanted to add multiple paragraphs. First, second, third, and I'm going to add another header to it. So we're making all kinds of changes. We didn't pay attention to making sure that we had the most up-to-date code. Topics on, let's say, reasons why I like pizza. Okay. So we made changes. We go ahead and save it. I go into GitKraken. I am now seeing that I have made some changes here, and my source control from GitHub is already tracking one commit. So if I am staging this, I stage these changes. Section 3 paragraphs on pizza. I commit those changes. Okay, so now look, the order is off. I have not dealt with that change. If I push this, I'm going to have the conflict on GitHub. If I pull this down, I'm going to have the conflict on the local, and it's easier to deal with if you have the conflict on your local. So I could go ahead and pull down. I'm going to get some errors. Merge failed. Conflicts need to be resolved. It's not the end of the world, but it is letting us know that we got some issues. So it says a file conflict was found when attempting to merge into master. So we want to go ahead and click on that. And if we have multiple files where we did that to, we're going to have to deal with each one individually. Okay, so I can say about.html, I could click in it, and this is why it's better to do it on a local computer to make those changes and deal with the conflict. You can still do it on GitHub, but it's a lot harder to deal with those issues because you have to go through line by line. This is my local computer. It's called master. Here is my remote that we called GitHub source control, my website master. And it's showing both of the files. Here, we deleted that paragraph file. Here, we added those paragraph files. So because they're happening on the same line of code, we have to decide what we want to keep. I could choose to click this, and now my output is showing that it does not have any of this additional code. It is having only where I deleted that paragraph. I could choose this one, where it has the 3 reasons why I like pizza with all those 3 paragraphs. I could choose to do a combination of the 2. I could select both of them. Now it depends on the order of what I select for what goes where. So I could do this and then this. Okay, because right now this is the conflict. This line number 12 is the conflict. Okay, I could choose to say, you know what, I want this right here, I want this change, I want that paragraph that was deleted that's no longer there, I want that change, and I want this paragraph, and this paragraph. And I could do a combination of the 2. So if that change was not just deleting a paragraph, but it was adding whole sections, I could just choose specifically the order of where I wanted to put my stuff. Not a big deal. It's able to be dealt with, but you have to resolve that conflict. I can decide what I want. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say, you know what, I want all of this code. This is what I want to be my end result. I really didn't like that change there, and that's how I can deal with it. And so I can go ahead and click Save. Now it has already created a commit message for me that it's saying that it dealt with that conflict, and I can choose to commit and merge. Okay, so now I've merged those changes, the changes that were different from GitHub. See how it has the commits that are going off kind of on a different branch. And then I have from my local, I have the commit that I made at a different time. So I have merged those changes and dealt with that. So now in my code, if I'm looking at that about page, it has those 3 paragraphs. But my source control for GitHub is still behind. If I want to catch it back up, because this is capturing where I dealt with that conflict and I merged those issues and have that additional commit, I need to bring my GitHub up to date. So I need to sync this. So because I'm going from my local computer, ground level, up to the cloud, I need to push. So now that I pushed, my code on GitHub will look exactly the same. I can refresh this page and it's going to have those changes. So there is my changes. It is tracking those commits, what I dealt with those, that I dealt with that merging the remote with the conflicts, added those 3 paragraphs on pizza, and everything is good. I could continue to work on GitHub. I could continue to work on my local computer. It doesn't really matter where you are working as long as you are working with the most up-to-date code. You don't want to work on something that's already behind while you're working on something that's up-to-date because it's going to cause some conflict. So as long as you are pushing and pulling your changes so that you're always working on the newest version, then you will avoid conflicts. However, if you forget, conflicts are not hard to deal with. You just have to pay attention to what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of. And as always, your local computer, Gitkraken specifically, makes it very easy to deal with conflicts and resolving those conflicts rather than trying to do it on GitHub. It's not super difficult, but you have to go through line by line, and you're going to have to find those pieces that are conflicting. Okay? All right. The next video that I'm going to show is how to clone directly from GitHub to create a carbon copy of your stuff from GitHub onto a local computer as if, let's say, you were working from a home computer.